chat about different things, and I'm amazed at the wisdom that Blake has, because he's walked with his father ever since he was a little kid, just a child, and he sat at these meetings, and man, just the information, the wisdom. And how many of you know, I mean, PT always talks about it, it's not about information, but it's about cultures and environments and people. And so he's been around the best of the best, and he's an amazing leader. He's honestly, some of his biggest gifts are right here in speaking. And I'm just so proud of you, Blake, for the growth and what's gone on in your life in the last 2 years, honestly. I mean, I've been around you for a number of years. But this is where, bro, you really shine. And I'm so proud of you. I'm excited to hear what you've got today. So if you guys can make welcome my brother, Mr. Blake Goad. It's warm. You want a fan?
Well, the good thing, Josh, is I'm already hot enough, so it's okay. No, Josh just said, it's warm up here, need a fan. I said, well, I'm already hot, so I don't know what you're talking about, so a lot of you will catch that later. But y'all doing awesome today? Yes. Nice. Well, I am excited to be at G5 Leadership. It literally feels like we were just here, doesn't it? Like, I mean, it's amazing how time flies, but it feels like it takes forever at the same time. You know what I'm talking about? But I like this setting today. This is a cool setting. How do you know change is good? And I love being out here because this is a different change, and it makes us it makes it feel different. So, but I'm excited to talk to you today. I love to have fun. I love to have fun. How many of you love to have fun? Last night at the men's meeting, we were at locker room last night, and I was just talking about how much fun it is to be in leadership. And how much leadership rides on having fun. And I love to tell jokes. And I know everybody's like, oh, great, here comes another corny joke from Blake. You know, well, how many of you know sometimes it's great to laugh at corny things? So I found this great joke. It's really funny. So it said this husband and wife are walking down the street, and the wife looks and says, look at that drunk guy, honey. He goes, who is he? And he goes, well, 10 years ago, he proposed to me. The husband goes, wow, and he's still celebrating. And I was like, ooh, denied. Okay, cool. And then I found this other one. I love this one. This is great. It says, what is the best thing about Switzerland? And it says, I don't know, but the flag is a big plus. But how many of you know, if you can't laugh at things like that, you're not going to be able to laugh at anything else, right? But how many of you know the biggest lesson in life is to be able to laugh at yourself? And I struggle with that every day. So I'm just letting you know I'm not the only one struggling with it. So, but today I'm excited. I want to talk about the 3 secrets to starting a new habit. 3 secrets to starting a new habit. And I know my dad covered about changing habits last month, and I want to encourage you to go listen to that, because it is amazing the impact of that talk is in changing people's lives. But I just wanted to, put a little my spin on it. Can I do that for y'all today? So, what's so cool is how many of you know if you want to change the world, you have to make sure you change the habits in your own life. Because the habits in your life will eventually come out in the leadership style you have. Based on who you are and want to become will be the habits you need to create in the future. And I'll have a little challenge for y'all. I want you all for the next year, every month, write 1 new habit down you want to put into your life that month. 1 new habit that you don't already have into your life that month. And here's what I found out, that when you put a new habit into your life, it takes the focus off all the bad habits you have in your life. Because how many of you know when you put your focus on something positive, it helps overcome the negative? So I'm not going to be up here too long today because I'm so excited to bring my pops up here. But today I just want to talk about habits. So the point number 1, and this is so huge, is make your habits small. Make your habits small. And you're saying, Blake, why make it small? The goal is to have big dreams and big visions. And one of the things we found out in leadership is when you make the small changes in your life, the little things, will eventually grow into big habits. And I love success. How do you know successful people do consistently what others do inconsistently? Successful people do what other people are not willing to do consistently. And one of the biggest things we teach here at G5 is being consistent. And I had a great conversation. I go in and got my ears lowered today. For y'all that don't know what that means, I got my hair cut. But I was talking to the girl that was cutting our hair, and she was talking about how she missed church this past week. And I literally stopped her in mid-conversation and I said, can I be openly honest with you? I said, the biggest thing you can do for your kids is be consistent at church. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, if you can be consistent in one thing a week in your life with your kids, which that could be just going to church, it'll impact you and your kids' lives for the rest of their lives. And here's what I found out. It's a simple habit. Being consistent is a simple habit. And I love, have you ever heard of this guy named Newton? You know, he's a big scientist, kind of thing. But he had this thing, and it was the motion of law, moving, right? If something stays in motion, it will continue to be in motion. But if it stays stuck, it will always be stuck forever. But I want to encourage you in your habits, the little habits. One of the biggest things I've found is when you do the little things will eventually help you grow and be more consistent and move faster in the big things. Now, I'm dyslexic. I don't know if y'all know what dyslexia is, but it's a fun challenge to have in life. And my pops and I are both dyslexic. And that is one of the little things that I've had to learn in my life to get over. A habit. And I'm so grateful for my mom and my teacher, Aunt Farmer, that they helped me and my pops work through, get these little habits in my life that I can help overcome my dyslexia. And I remember when I first heard about it, heard that I had dyslexia, I thought it was this terrible thing. And I thought it was this curse that I was like, I'm not going to be able to do anything. I'm stupid. I can't think straight. This whole thing. You know how the enemy will work to make you think bad thoughts, right? That's what I thought I was. I was like, great, I'm going to be stupid for the rest of my life. I thought all these thoughts. And then I started doing research and found out all these successful people who had dyslexia. And I'm not going to go through the list today, but just named like 2 or 3, like Abraham Lincoln was dyslexic. Albert Einstein was dyslexic. Walt Disney was dyslexic. I can start naming the list, and I was like, you know what? That is good company to be in right there. I said, I don't care who you are. I'm right. I may be shorter than all of them. Put Abe Lincoln next to me. That's going to be kind of a height difference there. But, how many of you know that is good company to be in? And how many of you know, I love some guy was like, he came up to me after I talked about it one day, and he goes, Abe Lincoln's dead, right? I was like, can I ask you a question? I said, why do you always look at the negative of everything? I didn't say I was happy he was dead. I just said I was happy to be in the same company. Habits. Thinking negative is a habit. So I want to encourage you to think positive about everything you do. Number 2 is make your habits obvious. Make the little habits obvious. And you're saying, Blake, what do you mean? And I remember a buddy of ours, he was telling us how he started implementing these little habits in his life. And how many of you like to floss? Exactly. None of us like to floss. And he was telling me one day, he said, Blake, I remember when I forced myself to create a little habit to start flossing every day. And he said, next thing you know, I do it without even thinking about it. I get up and I go straight to my thing. I brush my teeth. I floss. And he says, people laugh at me when I say I made it a habit to floss. And he says, but what people don't understand is when I create a habit in my life, it made me more consistent in the things that mattered. And you can, most people nowadays, the kids think flossing is that new dance move. I can't even do it. I'll pass. But how many of you know it's a habit? It's fun. How many of you know your potential to lead others determines on how you lead yourself? How you lead yourself. And how many of you know a habit in your life, one of the biggest habits we all need to learn is how to lead ourselves. And I remember ever since I was little, my dad always taught me, Blake, when you get up in the morning, the biggest habit you can create is to make your bed. And today can I be open and honest with y'all? I still struggle making my bed every morning. And my mom is in the back going, yes, he does. But how many of you know one of the biggest things about creating habits is being open and honest with yourself about it? And having people around you that will go, hey, I know you're wanting to get this habit in your life. Let me help you do that. Let me help you do that. And how many of you know the potential to lead others is all, like I just said this, but determines how you lead yourself. Lead yourself with love and respect. And how many of you know one of the biggest things I remember my dad taught me when I was little is to have people in your life that can help you walk through the life that you're going through. Habits. I remember How many of you love those friends? And I was talking about one of them earlier, but that's always negative. I'm gonna just be honest. I have a love-hate relationship with people like that. But how many of you know? We all have everybody has a hard past. All of us have struggled. Can be honest with everybody? We've all struggled. But one of the biggest things I remember my dad always told me when I was little is to never focus on your past, but always remember where you came from. Always remember where you came from. Because where you came from will also help you change where you're going. Change where you're going. And number 3 is make it automatic. Make your habits automatic. And I remember one of the biggest things is I was listening to a leadership talk one day driving, and he goes, "It's amazing to me how consistently I drive to work every day and don't realize how I got to work." And I realize that too. Sometimes when I'm driving out here, I'll get here and forgot how I drove out here. Literally. I'll be like, which way did I drive out here today? But how many of you know, get things in your life that are so automatic that you do it without having to think about it? How many of you know I was joking about my buddy having to get a habit to floss every day. How many of you know he does it so much now that he doesn't even have to think about it, and he just does it? And basically today, what I wanted to come to talk to you about is getting habits in your life that are so consistent that you can lead by example when you do it. And that is huge, what I just said right there. Leading by example. How many of you know leading by example is bigger than telling people how to do it? Because how many of you know you can tell somebody something, but if you don't show them how to do it or lead them into it, that's the massive difference, right? How many of you ever seen, you watch people lead and they'll be like, they do as I say, not as I do, right? Sometimes, how many of you know the greatest leaders in life are often the ones that are willing to do what has not yet been done? I love what Arnold Palmer said. If y'all don't know who Arnold Palmer is, he is considered one of the greatest golfers in history. And he simply said this, and I love it. It's similar to the lines of what I just said. And it says, sometimes the most rewarding things you do in life are often the ones that look like cannot be done. So I just have a question. What are the habits in your life right now that you feel like you can't overcome, but you feel like you need to overcome? What are the things in your life right now that you're fighting against? The things that you're struggling to get through. And how many of you know, we talked about this at the men's night last night, we all are going through seasons, and we're all going through floors. And my mom talked about that, and my dad talked about that. We all have these floors that we're on in our lives. We all have this cave season where we're hiding. We're in this cave, and we're fighting for our lives, right? And I found this out, and this is crazy, okay? Listen to this. Duke University in 2006 did a study, and they found out over 40% of our actions are not done by our own choice. They're done by habits. 40%. So what that tells me is we already have things in our life we do without realizing we do them. That are habits that are in our daily life that we do. Right? Being consistent. And I love it. There's this book I read. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of it. It's called the Bible. and I love this. My dad always says this quote. And so he says, if you're faithful in the little, and then you'll be faithful in the much. Because how many of you know when you're faithful in your small, the little things in your life, the habits that you don't want to do, the habits, and guys, it could simply be, and I remember, I hate eating healthy. I cannot stand it. And I think if I could let you all come up here, you all would probably agree with me. But how many of you know, now if y'all like to eat healthy, God bless you. But I would rather go through McDonald's or Chipotle and go get some junk food. Or go to In-N-Out Burger. A lot of you don't know what that is. But how many of you know that sometimes the little choices can simply be, instead of going and grabbing that big basket of fries or chips that you love, or desserts, those sweets. Mama's back there going, you better talk to yourself right now, young man. So... But how many know that literally what I was just talking about earlier, having people in your corner that want you to win, that'll help you get there. And she's going to come to me later and go, did you hear yourself talk today, young man? You better listen to yourself. I was like, oh, what did I say, Mom? I don't remember what I said. Is that what I You talking to me? Because I'm sure there's another Blake in the world that would love to hear this story. So, but how many of you know you need those friends? And we got, but how many of you know, as much as I'd rather go through McDonald's and get a big basket of fries, I need to go home and make me a healthy smoothie. And how many of you know it's learning to make the habits that'll change your life? Learning the habits that'll change your life. And I love the quote that Mother Teresa said, and she simply said, everybody will come into your life as a blessing, and everybody will come into your life as a lesson. So I want to encourage everything you do in your life is a blessing and a lesson at the same time. Because you can learn from the blessings, and the blessings are a lesson. So today, I just simply want to encourage y'all to make the little choices and the little habits count. Make them count. Because eventually the little habits will turn into a big habit that will change your life forever. So I'm going to bring up the man that taught me how to do the little habits. He's still helping me to this day figure out those little habits. So would you please help me welcome my amazing father, Mr. Tim Goad.
The house today. I love it so much. Well, welcome to the taping. This goes out everywhere, and so there's a lot of leaders that listen, and we tape it, and we just invite you to come be with us, so I love that. That's so great. Welcome. Look at your neighbor and say, I can tell I'm a better leader than you. I just want to let you know that. So let's get started. You ready to get started? How many of you today even consider yourself to be a leader? Okay. Anybody here today or listening to me, have you ever been around a leader that you really loved? And you thought about the traits of that leader? Have you ever been around a leader that you were like, maybe not so much? Do you know what I'm talking about? But those of you that have worked for a leader that you loved or became a leader that people loved, these traits are really amazing. I've been around a lot of leaders. I've been around a lot of different styles of leaders. And I've known some leaders that truthfully, they yell at people and then they try to hug them. I know a lot of parents that parent that way. How many of you know that kings do not have to yell? They simply whisper and carry out the most important task. Yelling and loving. How many of you know if somebody yells at you, you cannot feel the love? You just can't. I recently read an article in Forbes magazine that cited 4,000 professionals about improving leadership. And what do you need to do to become a better leader? Now, I don't know anybody in their right mind that does not want to become a better leader of themselves, a better leader of their family, a better leader in the community, a better leader of others, and a better leader to leaders. That's the highest form of leadership. A lot of people can lead sheep, but we want to build you into the type of leader that can lead shepherds. It's such a different level of leadership. So much of leadership is about growing you as a person and not just in your skills and your talents. Here's what these 4,000 professionals, they were asked, what do you think that leaders need to do in order to get better? Well, before I tell you what they said, when they asked bosses, leaders, what they thought they needed to do, they said two things. I need to get better at finances, reading financial statements, and I need to get better at understanding social media. That's where bosses thought they needed to get better. Isn't that amazing? I need to get better at finances, and I need to get better at technology. A lot of leaders believe if you help your people get better at what they do, they'll become more results driven. But the truth of it is we as leaders need to be developing people and who they are. And then who they are will determine what they do. So the top two areas that the 4,000 professionals said they wish their leaders would do is that they would get better at leadership and that they would get better at emotional intelligence. Wow. Better at leadership. Now, what is leadership? Let me give you a foundation, and I'm going to talk to you about what I want to talk to you about, okay? Leadership is doing the right thing for the right reason at the right time and the right way. Let me say that one more time. By the way, that is not easy. Leadership is doing the right thing for the right reason at the right time and the right way. We could spend an hour right now and unpack that. Anybody besides me ever do the right thing at the wrong time? It won't work. You can also do the right thing at the right time and make a difference, but if you don't do it in the right way, how can I mess up not doing it in the right way? Not having emotional intelligence. Thinking that if I do the right thing at the right time, that people will accept it. But if your heart is closed because I didn't do it in the right way, wow. Well, Tim, I don't have time. I don't have time to consider people's feelings. Okay. Have a fun day. Right? Anybody besides me ever had somebody and come and talk to you about something that you were willing to talk about, but just not right now? How many of you right now need to have a conversation with somebody, but just not right now? My wife and I write books on marriage and family, and let me just tell you, the wrong time to have a conversation about something serious in a relationship is at the dinner table with the family and right before you go to sleep. I would encourage you, right time, right way, right reason, right time. Get a quiet place and leave all the distractions. Why? Because whether you realize it or not, you want a leader that cares about you and about what you're experiencing. But most people do I leadership. You know what I leadership is? They stand up and say, well, I am going to do this, and I'm going to build this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to change the world, and I'm going to make a difference in the world. We leadership comes in and says, we get the privilege to do this together. And we are going to help you get into your destiny. And we together are going to build something that will change lives. I moved from I to we. Why? Because leaders do the right thing at the right time for the right reason. Isn't it interesting that bosses think they need to work on finances and technology, and people that are following the leader think they need to work on very different things: leadership and emotional intelligence. Do you know the greatest desire of your heart is to be understood? Understood. How many of you feel really understood? You want to be understood, right? And by the way, we'll do whatever we have to do to protect ourselves so that we're not misunderstood. Can I get a, yeah, that's right. Amen. So you can imagine how much energy every day is going in to these kinds of things versus really moving the ball down the field. Now, leadership is about getting things done. It really is. It's about causing something to happen. Today, while I'm preparing for tonight, and this week I'm speaking tomorrow just south of Raleigh, and then we have a weekend here, and I'm working on all these talks at the same time. I took some calls, and A guy called me today, and I said, what's the most you've ever made in a year? And it took him, I don't think that's a tough question. If I ask you right now, what's the most you've ever made in a year, you probably know what it is. Now, you may not want to admit it, and I have no judgment. I don't care if you made $10 or $10 million or $10 billion. I really don't care. You say, well, why don't you care? Because I don't care. Because I'm more interested in what you're becoming than how much you're making. Because if I change who you are, you will make what you need to make. And the greatest goal and aim of your life is to be able to make something of yourself. The question is why did you put a lid on it? So I asked him, I said, what do you do? And he finally arrived at a number. And I said, well, you should be substantially making $200,000 or $300,000 or $400,000 more than that. But you don't believe it. So therefore, you don't make the decisions. And here's the big thing. You don't ask the why. Why am I not? If you don't ask the why question, you can't change it. And you'll be so defending who you are. Now, is leadership just money? No, leadership is making a difference. But how many of you know you cannot feed your family on difference? You can't call the light company and say, hey, I made a difference. You can't fill your gas tank up now and go, but I really changed somebody's life. For some unknown reason, these greedy people want money. They want money. Isn't it amazing that we read a Bible that says money answereth all things? Did you know that's in there? Does it mean it's the most important thing? Does it mean it should be the highest aim of your life? Does it mean that you should work your fingers to the bone? No. But here's what I can tell you. It feeds starving children. It gets medicine to impoverished people. It gets college educations. It causes you in your life to be able to elevate your game. And you know what money really does for you? It gives you options. It gives you options. Amazing, though. You would think if people got more money, it would make them more happy. But it doesn't. Do you know why? Because I got something, but I didn't become something. So whatever you're doing in your life right now, I would just encourage you to start to understand the power of a leader. And that in all high-performing companies, in all high-performing families, in all high-performing churches, and all high-performing organizations, you're going to find out that words matter. Do you know why? Oh my goodness. Are you ready? Because words feed people's soul. Words feed people's souls. All you leaders that are listening to this right now around the world, we do something here at G5 now called a locker room. It's for men's. We only do it twice a month. And I went in last night and I talked about the power of the dream, because I am finding that most people do not have a dream. If you don't have a dream, you don't have a vision. So guess what you're going to do? You're going to waste your life. You'll spend your life, but you won't invest your life. And I thought I was a little tough. Can I just be transparent with you? I thought I was a little tough because I was a little tough. And I talked to men like I talked to men. And so I was calling a few guys trying to go, well, that's too tough. And my phone began to light up. And most of them were, thank you. I needed to hear this. Have you ever needed to hear something you didn't want to hear? Have you ever needed to hear something that you tried to position yourself so you didn't have to hear? Have you ever gotten so busy so that you didn't have to stop and take a moment to hear? But that one moment in time changes the trajectory and the destiny of your life. So I get around companies, and right now this is a big burden on my heart, because right now I see what this pandemic has done to us. It's really put our dreams to sleep. But we have now moved into a stage where the world now is in a survival mode. It's almost like a concentration camp. Just give me one more day that I can get through. And I want you to know you were never made by your maker to survive. Now you have survival skills, but those survival skills were only meant to go for a little while. What your real wiring is you were made to thrive. And here's what I don't want to do. As your friend, I don't want you to invest the rest of your life in something smaller than you were created for. So how do you do this? You got to start speaking words into your life. Well, here's the problem. Most of us don't speak well to ourselves. And because we don't speak well to ourselves, we don't speak well to people around us. Am I okay? Yes, sir. Am I making you mad right now? Or am I okay? Just because you need to smile at me every now and then. Because if you're happy, notify your face, right? I mean, I need to know that, right? Because I need to know you're not mad at me. All right? Because I think I'm with a bunch of people that really want to grow, and that you really are going, yeah, what do I need to do? Here's what I know. The power of life and death is in your words. It's in your mouth. And it's not only what you say out here, it's what you say in here. As a person thinketh in their heart, so are they. Have you ever gotten around somebody that you just loved them? They're really gifted, but how many of you know they kind of have this haughty spirit? Like, I'm untouchable. If you haven't had an employee like that, you need one. And if you haven't had a leader like that, you need one. I know everything. Where did we as leaders ever think that we were ever supposed to know everything? I love getting the smartest people in the world around me. And a lot of times I will admit to you, I will ask questions I already know the answer to. Why? Because I want to find out where people are. I'm not being manipulative. I'm trying to find out. Because all of us have these carefully crafted mechanisms of protectionism so that I don't get too exposed. Because as much as I want you to know me, I don't really want you to know me. It's kind of like why people love poker. They call it poker face. I am not good at poker. Do you know why? I don't think I have a poker face. Like, if I've got something good going on, I just smile. I'm in trouble. I come home and my wife's going, what is it? I'm like this little boy caught all the time. Thinking like, no, I don't got candy in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? And when I get around leaders, I know. You know where I get in trouble? Here's where I get in trouble. I cast vision too quickly. It's why my daughter will come to me and go, hey, Daddy, we're getting ready to go in, and I love you. You're so awesome. You're the best. You remember when a child shall lead? Daddy, you're amazing. Can we stay on this one thing? I'm like, no, because I want to do this and this and this and this. And she goes, Daddy, I'll help you do that if you'll just do this. I go, okay. Right? How many of you know your strength becomes your weakness? Well, one of my strengths is that I love to cast vision. I love to talk to people about how tomorrow is going to be better than your yesterdays. I love to get people just imagining. I love to get people around where they stop living in their yesterdays and start reaching for their tomorrows. One of the things that breaks my heart around leaders is when they spend so much time trying to fix what went wrong instead of starting to create what they want. Are you with me? So I started studying these high-performing teams, and so now I want to talk to you about a book that I wrote a long time ago. It's called Vocabulary of a Leader, and if you do not have it, I beg you to get it. If you have it, I beg you, do not shut down right now and say, I read that. Because I promise if you read it right now again, you're going to understand it and implement it at a whole different level. So when I walk in these high-performing locker rooms, I'm going to give you 3 today. Can I give you 3? There are 10, and I encourage you to get the book. There's also a download on it, I'm pretty certain. I don't know if we have the book yet or not. We just did a reorder on it, and it's coming out. So my daughter's just telling me it's coming out. Thank you, Miss Bree. I appreciate that. So when I got around these leaders, it blew me away. So one night, I was on an airplane. Excuse me. I was on an airplane, and I think it was at night. And I was just, have you ever been so overloaded that your brain just goes, duh? And so what I do when I do that is I just watch a movie. And so I scrolled through the movies, and I'd seen a lot of them. And so they had this movie called King's Speech. Have you ever seen this movie? If you haven't seen it, I would encourage you to watch it. But it's the importance of this guy that needs to be a king, but he doesn't know how to speak to people. Boy, have you ever been there? You know, see, can I tell you? There are 2 kinds of people listening to me right now. There are sharks and turtles. Sharks love to talk. We get better by talking. If we want to solve something, we just talk it out. And now we got these turtles. And they just like to go inside their shell. Well, if you want to drive a shark crazy, just go in your shell. Because they'll come up and knock on it. And they'll keep knocking on it. And if that doesn't get you out of your shell, then they'll yell at you. And they'll keep going. Now, these are ill-equipped sharks. Because a smart shark knows you'll never get a turtle to come out of their shell until they feel safe. And normally you have to walk with them. So turtles love to go in their shell. So here's what I can tell you. On teams, there are people that like to talk, and they always run the room. And I want you to hear me. Don't lose me now, okay? We think great leadership is a dominant personality or a dominant mouth. And that's not leadership at all. Leadership is doing the right thing at the right time for the right reason and the right way. Now stay with me. Are you ready? Without anybody telling you you have to do it. That's leadership. So if somebody's having to still tell you to make the bed at 30, now I know some of you are going, well, I'm 30 and I don't make my bed. I go, okay, that's up to you. But can I tell you, whatever the discipline in your life that needs to be done that you still have to be told to do it or not to do it, it means you have not yet, can I talk to you? Yes, sir. It means you have not matured yet. So if I tell you you shouldn't talk down to people, and you're still talking down to people, that will hold us back. Why? Because people don't give their all to people that don't give their all. And the one thing you need in your life is you need to be appreciated. So I did a sermon on gratitude. I would encourage you to go back in the app and get it, because here's what we discussed. That unexpressed gratitude, when I don't say it, is the same thing as no gratitude, because it feels the same. So you and I as leaders need to be the head cheerleader, the head encourager, and the most grateful person on the planet. So where does that begin? I'm glad you asked. At that thing you called your house. Do you know what destroys most leaders? We're 2 or 3 different people. I had a leader come to me the other day and he goes, I'm somebody at my house, I'm somebody at church, and I'm somebody else at work. Ooh, we need congruency. That's a big word for same. Same. Walk in it. Now, can I ask you, if you get a bunch of employees, if you get a bunch of team members, if you get a bunch of salespeople, if you get a bunch of leadership development people, and they start moving in the same direction, what do you think is going to cause them to move in the same direction? Language. So in the highest performing teams, here are 3 things I hear them talk about. Are you ready? Instead of talking about problems and negativity and complaining, you know what they'll walk in a room? They'll go, just imagine when we do this. Just imagine. No matter the struggle, no matter the pain, No matter what it is, they start imagining. If you create anything in your life, it's imagination. By the way, I think I could sit with you right now and tell you that whatever you're experiencing in your life, you imagined it. And if you didn't imagine it, it meant you didn't have a dream, so therefore you didn't create the vision for what you really wanted. Now, can I punch pause for a second?
Yeah.
How do you expect me to follow you if you have no picture of where we're going? I have men come to me all the time. Can I talk to you? And they'll go, my wife won't listen to me. And I'll go, well, what are you saying? Are you trying to get her to do what you want her to do for just you, or are you going somewhere? What is the vision? My wife will tell you that when our children were small, I started talking about a ranch. We would drive by ranches. I bought my son a log bed. We would buy Western wear. Because one day, I wanted a ranch. I built stuff all over the world. Well, you know why? Because Zig Ziglar said if you'll help enough other people get what they want in life, you can have what you want in life. What is your vision? Where are you going, man? Because if I don't know where you're going, I don't know how to walk beside you. I don't know how to add value. Ladies, where are you going? Not just men. Where are you going? Where are you headed? Are you just treading water? Are you just existing? Do you say to yourself, well, I'm a victim? Or do you say, I have an imagination. I can see my life. I can see my gift. I can see my talent. I can see my life adding value to other people's lives. And watch this. Whoever can see the future first, whether it be setting up this. Do you know what this was? We're outside right now. By the way, we're outside because they just redid the whole floor and we're getting ready because we got a vision. We're getting ready to build a building over here. This was seen in somebody's mind before it ever became a reality. Light shows, they're seen in somebody's mind, and then watch this, leaders, watch this. You start imagining it, and here's what most people go, well, I need money. No, you don't. Imagination costs nothing. Matter of fact, I would encourage you to start imagining how you can do more in your life, do better in your life without spending money. Do you know how many times companies with billions of dollars get beat by people that don't have any money? Do you know why? Because they think outside the box. Do you know what? A company asked today, I said, why are you not doing more? I said, it's got to be three things: product, people, or processes. Oh, it's people and process. So what is the question? The question is, why do you do that? Why do you allow that? Why do I allow it? Do you know why? Because I don't want to take a risk. And leaders that change the world, that imagine, take a risk. It was a risk when we bought this ranch. It was a risk when we put up these buildings. We're getting ready to put up another building. There will be another building down there. We're going to have buildings everywhere. Children's buildings, youth buildings. We're going to have buildings. We're going to have 5 companies here at the same time. And I'm going to walk from building to building and go, do you have a dream? I want you to go with me. We're going to have a jet at the airport, and I'm going to hit 3 cities in a day, and I want you to get financially free so you can help pay for that jet and you can go on that jet. I've got a great plan for your life. I'm telling you right now, I need to help create 100 multi-gazillionaires. Anybody in the room say, I'd like to do that? Can I tell you, you can do that. But can I tell you, you can't do it if you keep thinking, what I need to change is financial sheets and technology. What you've got to build is your capacity to imagine. And stay with me. You've got to get in an environment where people dream, where they imagine, where it almost offends you because they're always talking the future. Do you know what separates you from everybody else in your family? Do you know what separates you from everybody else in your city? Do you know what separates you from everybody else in your industry? Do you know what it is? Your picture of tomorrow. Look, my wife's really hot. She's amazing. Sorry. No, I'm not. But can I tell you, I still have dreams for her. I have dreams the way I'm going to bless her and build in her. I have dreams for my daughter. I have dreams for Blake. I have dreams for Josh. I have dreams for Harold. You know what are my dreams of your life? Your life. The reason you're here, the reason you're listening. Do you know why it is? I have a dream to increase your influence in this world. Your influence to make a difference, your influence to encourage, your influence to add value into people's lives. Walt Disney said that a dream begins with just 2 words, just imagine. Right now, I'm on a big kick on this. And if you hang around me, I'm going to be talking about it a lot. So let me just tell you 3 things about your dream, and then I'll move to the next one real quick. Number 1, don't ever let anybody steal it. Don't ever let anybody steal it by criticizing it or telling you it won't work. Don't let anybody steal it. By the way, if you're building leaders right now, and you should be, don't let anybody steal their dream. The second thing is don't let anybody distract you. If you're fighting and devouring one another, if a team is infighting, if they're divided, it's called division or division. You're not moving towards your dream. You're being detained. And you're taking your energy and your wisdom and you're using it on all the wrong things. The last thing on your vision is just don't let anybody dilute it. Don't let anybody dilute it. The next thing I found out they were always talking was unity. Now listen, it's one thing to talk unity, it's another thing to live unity. It's one thing to say we're united, it's another thing to be united. So where do most people get to the place where they're not united? In their words and in their behaviors. Are you with me? So where does that happen? In our values, in our virtues, in our quality control, in the experience that we give people when they come and are around us. So, talking unity. You will never please God more than when you're fighting for unity and when you're destroying disunity. Unity. So if I came into your company right now, if I came into your life, if I came into what you do right now, how unified is it and how focused is it? Because the next thing I want to talk to you about is, are you focused? They're always talking unity, but they're also talking focus. Focus. They're focus crazy people. They're not looking everywhere. They're looking right here. Right? How focused are you? How focused are you on your family? How focused are you on the things that matter in your life? How focused are you right now on your personal growth and your personal development? Do you personally know right now the 5 areas where you need to focus on in your life to grow? Where are the weaknesses that could turn into ways that would take you out? What is your company's habits right now that could destroy your future? So let me just say this. Are you on mission? Is your company on mission? Is your church on mission? Are they on message? I always walk around and listen to see if people are sharing the same vision. A house divided against itself will not stand. It won't. If you're doing anything in life right now, how focused are you? Jack Welch, who I love, who ran GE, I loved his books and I love to listen to him. He took a GE and turned it into $140 billion a year. I'd say that's pretty good. How do you get a team focused? How do you get them talking unity? How do you get them imagining? Well, Jack had this thing called the Jack Welch Way. Every organization that runs has a way. So right here at G5, if you come in, we have 11 or 12 values and we have 6 behaviors. And we are relentless on them, right? Our number one habit at G5, I would encourage you to build it into your company, is invite. Invite new customers. Invite. If you're not inviting every day of your life, how do I invite? I'm meeting people and going, hey, it's great to see you. I don't know what you're doing Sunday, but I'd love for you to meet me. We have food. I'd love to eat with you. Well, we're going to go down to church and they're going to preach, bless God, and anointing's going to fall. People don't relate to that. Now, maybe some do. But we want to reach the unchurched. So, hey, come on down. There's always a message given that gives hope, and you feel uplifted, and you feel challenged and inspired. But come with me. I can't wait to eat with you. I can't wait to introduce you to some people. Invite. 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 If you're not inviting, oh my goodness, you're not growing. I just tell you right now. Because the only way you grow is to share. And the more you share and get out of yourself, now you can take land. It's so critically important. So, talk and focus. Let me ask you a question. Is your team all in? Do you know your market? Do you know your customer? Do you know what you need to do? Do you know what adjustments you need to make? Are you focused? Are you focused or are you disfocused? Can I tell you something? In life and in relationships, do you know what I hear from people that go through divorces? Do you know what I hear? I never saw it coming. I never saw it coming. When I talk to CEOs, and all of a sudden a company goes around them, or they allow work that is shoddy, that's not focused, they come to me and wonder why their customers are leaving. Have you been to a restaurant in the last few weeks that their service is going down and they don't know it or they don't care? You know what I'm talking about. By the way, this is the biggest challenge in your and my life. Because the spirit of excellence has to be the focus, not perfection. But I have to be focused on a spirit of excellence. And I've got to go after it. So let me tell you, I beg you right now, if you want to grow, teach it. But teach it more by how you do it than how you tell it. If you want to be a great father, if you want to be a great mother, do it more by how you show it. Example is everything. Now, the future is going to be amazing. I encourage you to get the book. I am so honored that you're here today, and I love you. I believe your greatest days are ahead of you. I'm asking you to take your culture and turn it into one of a high-performing team, because you develop a language that you not only speak, but you live. Because this stuff is more caught than it is taught. If you want to build it, and I believe you do, right now is your moment. Here's what I know. When a leader gets better, everybody wins. When a leader gets better, everybody wins. When a leader gets better, when a leader through your organization gets better, when they start imagining more, they start going, oh man, if we took this and reinvented this, if we did this and expanded this, they start seeing needs and they want to fill it. They start seeing things that need to change, and they come and say, is it okay if we change this? Make it better. Watch what happens in your life. Watch what happens in your team. Watch what happens in your company. I love you. Charge. Boom. So we take a few minutes if anybody has questions about leadership or anything, relationships, anything in life. If anybody's got a question, there is no wrong question. If you have a question, feel free to ask it. If you don't, then I'm really cool. I'll keep moving. Yes, sir. It's called Vocabulary of a Leader. He asked what the book was. It's Vocabulary of a Leader. And
I'm waiting for the email back. He's got them, I think, done. I'm waiting to get them.
okay, so we'll probably have them in a couple weeks. Is that accurate? Maybe 3 weeks? 1 week. So they'll be here in 1 week. But there's an audio on the website that they can download. What's the website? G5church.com. I promise you, when you start reading, it will take you probably 2 or 3 or 4 readings for it to, because it's going to completely change how you think. Because most leaders are focused on the wrong thing. They think greatness is going to come from this when it comes from this. When this is focused, guess what happens? All effort in the company goes to excellence. Because we're focused. Right? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, oh, we need a mic. Sorry.
You'd mentioned before about having congruency between different things with leaders, but also about how making sure that everyone in an organization is like on mission and on message. And you also mentioned how like a certain restaurants and stuff, they may not know. Some don't care, but some don't know. How do you not get stuck in that trap to where people are off mission, off message, not carrying the right habits, and being completely oblivious to that?
So I would encourage you, this is a very high-level leadership question. I would encourage you to continually go into your company and ask these 4 questions. What are our strengths? Where are we just killing it? Where's our advantage? The second question is, what are our opportunities? What opportunities do we have right now? The third is, what are our weaknesses? That's where we answer that right there. Well, I don't feel like we're on the same page. Well, I don't feel like we're saying the same things. Well, I think our ideas of what we're delivering and the level that we deliver it are very different. So you have to go in, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities. And the last one is, what are our threats? What could take us out? What is it that I don't see right now? I had a leader call me yesterday and go, bro, I had no idea in this market that what I didn't know about this market could take me out. That's why experience is so incredibly important. And the other thing that's incredibly important is for you to be so focused on the unexpected. What is out there right now? Can I tell you, every one of us have got to realize this. There's somebody sitting in a little room with no money who's trying to figure out what you do. And they're going to do it more efficient and more better if we're lazy or we get in a settle for mentality. And if you start going through the motions, be careful. Stay aggressive. Stay aggressive. And so mission, visions, and values help that. So let me just talk about this. A vision is what you want to do. A mission is how you're going to accomplish it. And your values is how we're going to treat each other in the process. It's so critical that companies spend millions of dollars on that right there alone. Do you know why? Because it brings clarity. And clarity is everything. I don't care if you like Giuliani or not. When he ran for mayor, he won. And he won by a big landslide. And he walked into a meeting one day and he said, I just want to let you know I'm running on these 3 things. Cab drivers have to wear collared shirts. We're cleaning the graffiti off of the subway, and we're cleaning the trash up. And one of his aides looked at him and said, is that right? He goes, I don't know if it's right, but I know it's clear. Now, I'm going to say something to you that's going to mess you up. People will follow clarity over character until they find out. But every time they'll follow the clarity. Do you know why? Because life is so complicated. Every one of us are craving simplicity. The greatest minds in all the world take complicated things and make them look so simple. If I could do anything for you in your business right now, do you know what I would do? I would simplify what you do. Simplify. We continually work on simplification. 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 And you got to be careful, because as a company starts getting money, they start relying on the money instead of the creativity and the imagination. It causes people to get lazy. You got to be careful of it, okay? One last question before we go, or yes, Quan's back there. You have a question? You guys are awesome back there. By the way, will you give him a hand? Yeah. Love you, man.
Thank you. What is the best way to invite?
So I kind of told you what I do. Hey, how are you? You want me to role play?
Yeah.
Andrew, how are you, man?
I'm good.
I love your smile, man. Where'd you get that smile?
It just happened.
I just complimented, right? Am I being fake? No, I really love his smile. Be authentic in what you say. Andrew, can I ask you a question? Do you live around here?
Yeah, just moved here.
You just moved here?
Yeah.
So cool, man. Yay. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Are you anywhere Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock?
Usually sleeping, but yeah, not much.
Sleeping. Can I ask you a question? Would you be willing to get about a half hour less sleep and come meet me so we could have lunch together at G5 Church?
Oh, I'd love to.
It's cool. Now, there are a bunch of crazies, but I can't wait to introduce you. I can't wait to introduce you to Harold. I can't wait to introduce you to Tom. I can't wait to introduce you to Billy. I can't wait to meet Bob. I can't wait to introduce you to my daughter. I can't wait to introduce you to, well, I got to be careful about that one. But I can't, you'll love it, man. A bunch of young, vivacious, crazy people that you'll love. I'll see you there at 10. So that's what I do. Normally I listen for three things. I'm not from here. Life's not good. Or my life is falling apart. And I just go, hey, if you're looking for a place where you can be loved and cared for, there's no judgment. Come on. We dress really relaxed. All right? So just boom. And now, inviting into your company? You want to hear an invite into your company?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Heidi, I love your smile. My name's Tim. You're amazing. I don't know where you got your people skills from, but you're amazing. I would love to introduce you to some really high-performing people. And I want to tell you what we do. We're in the financial services, right? And I want to introduce you. These guys make so much money. But before that, here's what I got to know. I'm going to introduce you to a bunch of people that want to make a difference. They want to leave a legacy. They want to be a world changer. Does that sound like any of your values?
Oh, yes.
So that sounds like your values. That is so cool. Tuesday night, I would love to get you into this meeting. Now, I'm going to save a chair. If you're not coming, I need you to know, because I got 5 more people I'm going to put in that chair. Okay? So I want you to come. Now, what happens if she says, no, I don't really care about that? I go, Heidi, you still have the most amazing skills of anybody I've ever seen. Here's my number. Okay? It's our company. All right? And if you ever get there, will you call me? Because I think I can introduce you to these guys. See how I do that? Boom, boom, boom. I just nail it. So I always invite people to who we are before what we do. Why? I don't want to be in business with you if I've got to worry about you stealing, cheating, or being self-promoting. Is that all right? Okay. So if I'm inviting them to my company, I'd love to get you around our hiring. I believe you have some skills that our company could use. Are you somebody that is a hard worker? Do you go the extra mile? See what I'm doing? Because these guys are those workers. Now, if I really want to go high on posture with Heidi, if I want to go high, because this is what we did, okay? I go high on posture. That means I'm like posturing out. It's like I'm taking and saying, here's where you are. I would look at Heidi and go, Heidi, now Tuesday night you're coming. I just want to beg you, Heidi, please don't say something dumb in the meeting, because I don't want it to blow your chances of it having a future with us and you making your dreams come true. She really needed to hear that. Now, see, I would never have to do that with Heidi, but if I feel somebody powering up and being arrogant with me,
Wow, that's so good.
I just do it very respectful. I don't change my tone. I just go, oh, can you help me? Because I just want you to know, if they sense this, I don't want to lose you. But I know they'll smile and they'll be really kind to you, but they'll go, no, we're going to fill that chair with somebody else. So don't want to do that. Yes.
If someone is powering up, like you just given that example, is it worth putting that effort into that person, knowing that maybe they're just going to shut down and not?
So she's asking, if somebody powers up like that, is it worth putting the effort in? And that is such a great question, okay? And I think case by case it is. And if I'm practicing, which I'm always practicing, I got to get better. So if I'm practicing, sometimes I just want to see what happens if I just kind of put it there and watch them. Because they may go, no, it'll be all right. I may still go, you know what? At any moment, remember, you're in the power seat and you can unplug it. And go, you know what? I don't think right now is a good time. No, I want to. Diane, you have our number. Right now I don't think it's a good time. Now, if you're worried that I'm going to lose them, and don't believe there are a lot of other fish in the ocean, then you'll chase them down. And once you do that, you're going to lose people. People are way more motivated by the fear of loss than they are the power to gain. So you kind of just got to figure it out. But if they're going to be arrogant long term, at any moment you can shut it down. All right, guys, let's get out of here. I love you. Thank you.